Hi everyone, so once again I hope we're all sitting comfortably because we've got a long one. So I did my own nails today, and I've started off using the edge tips from Hazel Dixon, just because I was having a bit of a down day and sometimes I have massive arguments with my forms, and I bought these tips when I was recently model on a course at hers, so I thought I'd give them a little go. I'm not going to go for the edge shape, I'm just going to use them as a base for a Russian-y Gothic-y almond. So I'm coming in first of all, I want a crisp smile line on my index finger. So I'm using CJP Cherry Blossom, and I've taken the liquid out of the bead, placed it where I want the smile line to end, and then blended back. And then I've used the tip of my brush just to shape that smile line into place to get that nice V. And then I'm coming in with the second bead, and I'm blending forwards and back. You have to bear with me because the monomer I was using I had used on my first hand and it needed changing, which was why the acrylic was running a bit. So I paused the video, changed the monomer, and then I got that all sorted out. So I apologise for that. So once I'm finished with that, I'm just going to build the actual apex now with Negligee. So I'm starting at the cuticle area and then I'm bringing that forwards. It just means there's a slightly softer colour at the base of the nail, so it's not such a stark contrast between natural nail and the acrylic. So once I'm happy with that, I'm then going to put away any acrylic I'm not going to use anymore. I'm very clumsy. So once we're done with the cover pink, we put that away so that we can then just work with the colours that I want. I do that the same with glitters, things like that. As soon as I'm done with glitters, I put them away. So as you've noticed, I've put a bit of my netting into my clear acrylic there, because what I want to do is I want to get a kind of like a fish scale pattern. So I'm coming in with a bead of Apple Shine, which is also CJP, placing that on the tip, placing it in the centre, pulling down to the tip and then pulling up towards where the tip joins. Now I don't want it too thin, but I also don't want it too thick. So I want it a couple of, like a millimetre or so less than what I want the thickness of the entire nail. So I just want a nice solid colour. And then I'm going to just add a little bit on the smile line there. Ideally you want to get this all done in one bead because I'm going to use that netting to be imprinting. Sorry, I can't get my teeth in today. So after leaving the netting in the acrylic, I'm then going to press down onto that tip when that acrylic is about half set. And you put the netting in the acrylic so that the netting doesn't stick, and then you very carefully pull it out. So as you can see, I've got that netting scaly design then on there. I'm then going to use a bit of clear acrylic to pick up the glitter and then place at the cuticle and pull down. All of my nails, I popped the tips on and then I placed a very thin clear layer of acrylic on, which is why I'm going straight in with the glitter. So you need to make sure there is a base of acrylic underneath that glitter. And then once I'm happy with how I've done that glitter, I'm just going to cap the entire nail in crystal glass. It's been a very long, tiring day. I apologise that I cannot get my teeth in and get my words out. So as I come to the free edge, I want to do as much as possible in one bead. Now, because I've done that base of acrylic and then put the netting in to imprint it, it will affect the pinch a little, and that's the only thing I'd say about this set of nails, is that I'm not that happy with the pinch I got from them, because obviously you've put a thin layer down and then you've waited for it to set a bit before capping it, but it should be thin enough not to affect the pinch too much. I just like a slightly tighter pinch, but that's just my own personal preference. So I'm doing the exact same with the ring finger now, but I'm using Grape Jelly instead of Apple Shine. And I apologise if every now and then I go out of shot. Again, I'm not used to doing my own nails while half looking through a camera. Okay, now it becomes a bit of a juggling act because I'm keeping an eye on that little finger just to make sure it's not looking out for the moment when I want to pinch it. And that's when you can press against it and you still get a bit of movement, but you're not going to dent that acrylic. So while waiting for those two, I'm just going to file in that smile line, dust that off so it's nice and crisp, ready for the next bit. And then do the exact same with the net, dip it in the clear acrylic. And then I'm placing my pinching tool on, and then as you can see that acrylic's gone slightly matte, and then I'm going to pull that acrylic. Now be gentle when you're doing this, because obviously that's just on a clear plastic, that thin plastic tip, so it could be painful if you push too hard. And then getting glitter in at the cuticle area, I'm pulling down, and on the ring finger and on the index finger I'm also going to put a little bit right at the very tip of the nail, a little bit of glitter there. And with that little finger, because I'm wanting to pinch the very tip of that, at this point most of the acrylic on my natural nail bit, that's pretty much set, so that's why I've then moved the pinching tool up, so I get a tighter pinch at the very tip of that nail there, because I want it a little more narrow. And then capping the ring finger. And then coming in with that middle finger, and I'm starting right at the tip, and then I'm just blending up a little bit. I'm not worried because I'm going to put glitter along the smile line and bring that down, so I don't need to bring that purple all the way up. I just need that little bit of purple ready for where I'm going to imprint with the netting. So the little finger is fully pinched now, so I'm just going to take that pinching tool off. On a client I do have 4 or 5 pinching tools, so I just leave them on there, but with myself it's tricky enough working with one pinching tool, let alone 3 or 4 attached to you. So again, dipping that netting in the clear acrylic and then pushing down and into the coloured acrylic on the tip. Then coming in with that glitter, placing it along the centre of the smile line and then pushing it up into the wings. So I tend to place some and then use the tip of my brush just to nudge the glitter where I want it, and then I'll use the belly of my brush to flatten it. The good thing with this glitter, it's got quite a few different shape cuts in, so you can pull it down and you get all the smaller bits of glitter dragging down, so you get a nice fade there. And then capping that tip. And then after this, the rest of the nails are pretty much the same. So I'm just going to go on to filing next, and I'm just going to show you one being filed. Filing on myself never goes well. Okay, so I've moved my towel out of the way, got the extractor fan on. What I do is I just sort out my sidewalls and my free edge, and then come round the cuticle area, and then think about the entire body of the nail. Now when you're working with really long nails like this, when you're working with a client, you really need to be supporting the nail. When I do these on myself, it is quite painful, because every time you move that file, you're really pushing and putting quite a lot of stress on the natural nail bed. So you want to, as best as you can, use your other fingers to support if you're doing it on yourself, and if you're doing it on a client, make sure you use your fingers to support either side and underneath that nail, because if you catch that the wrong way, it will be very painful for your client. Again, I'm sorry, I kept going out of shot here. Just using my file to put this, check I've got a straight line along the top. And now we're getting to some decoration. So they've all been filed, and I've top coated all but the middle finger, because the middle finger I want to do a little bit of nail art on. So I'm going to use my Crystal Nails foil gel, and I'm using my Crystal Nails at Barbara 2, and I'm just going to draw on 2 little circles because I'm going to make some jewellery stones. When I'm happy with those circles, I'm going to pop that in the LED lamp. Now this is a trial and error thing. In my lamp, I cure for 30 seconds. Some people's lamps will be 10 seconds, other people's will be 50 seconds. So I'm just using my dehydrator just to wipe on the matte side of my foil, just to prep that. And then once it comes out the lamp, it's still hot, press it on nice and hard, support under the nail, and then I've foiled on top of that gel. Then I'm going to use some of my Mermaid scales. I'm going to use these in Quicksilver. And I've got my Builder gel, so I'm using Perfect Nails Platinum gel. Any Builder gel will do, and I'm just putting a thin layer on, and then I'm one at a time picking up little scales just to place in the middle. These have the most amazing holographic sheen, so when they catch the light, these look beautiful. And these are really good because some people want to have like the big Swarovskis, but they can sometimes catch and they can be a little uncomfortable. Whereas if you do a jewellery stone, it's nice and smooth. So I'm then curing that for 30 seconds in my LED lamp. And then once that comes out, I'm going to use a nice big bead of gel, and I'm going to place over the top. And I'm just going to create a nice bead on top. Don't worry about that little bit of foil on my cuticle, I'm going to clean that up later. Things like this, clean it up once you finish. So you can there see there's a nice 3D effect. Holding my nail upside down just to make sure that the beads are nice and central. So they level themselves out, and then doing a full cure for 60 seconds or 90 seconds in LED if you want to be 100% sure. I'm then going to use some of the new crystal with the Swarovski crystals with a shimmer finish from Scatter Crystals, and I'm first of all doing just one coat of top gloss, and today I'm using Akzentz Shine On. Again, also available from Hazel Dixon, because that Builder gel will have a tacky layer, so you want to finish that off, and this has got a tack free finish. And then I'm popping that in the lamp, just a 30-second cure because I only want to do a part cure. And I'm using my NSI Polybond and a little wax crayon just to attach these crystals, and these are SS7 and SS5 size, so 7 are the larger ones, and then I'm using a couple of SS5 either side. Now often with a lot of my crystals I will go round them with bling on or similar, but because these are just a couple of crystals, I know what I'm like with crystals, so I can just, when I put my second layer of top coat on, I don't go over the crystals, but I just gently nudge up against it with the top coat brush, if that makes sense. So not going over the crystals, just up to them, and then they get cured and stuck into the top coat as well. And I'm just going to use a little bit of a nail varnish remover just to get rid of that foil. And then we're all finished. So I'm putting a little bit of my natural oil on, and we're done. So finally managed to get my own nails done for the first time in 3 weeks. So this entire set from start to finish took me about 3.5 hours. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to see, please put a little comment below. As I said, I used edge tips, but I went for a more kind of Russian almondy kind of look. I wouldn't really say these nails are any particular shape, they're just what I felt like doing today. So thank you for tuning in, guys, and have a great day. Bye!